Hi, and welcome to a brand new episode of Tech Your Business. Today, we'll be talking about something which everyone who creates content consistently might have encountered. Almost everybody these days sounds the same. Why is that? Because AI has become democratized. Almost everybody's using AI to create content, social media posts, blog posts, and everything. And over time, keep you start recognizing patterns, start reading things, start feeling everyone sounds the same, and that's not so good because it erases the brown voice from different people, and that's something today's guest handles, and we'll talk about in today's episode. Today's guest is Mona Bavar, and she'll be talking about maintaining your brand voice and brand consistency while using AI to amplify your efforts. So, welcome to the show, Mona.
Thank you very much, Peter, for having me.
Thank you so much. So, Mona is joining us from Italy. I was just asking because it was daytime. Normally, it's about night for my guests around this time. So, can you tell me a bit about yourself and what you do? Maybe expand on how what I said.
Yes, as you mentioned, I have an AI agency called Blue Apples that works with businesses so that they maintain their unique brand identity all across their communication. So they don't get lost in the generic world and content of AI generation. So I know it's very easy for all of us to sit in front of a chat GPT and generate content, but we have to remember that there is something that needs to differentiate us, and that goes back to our brand identity and the different facets of it, which includes your brand story, your brand voice, your tone, your style. And that's just the copy side of it, let alone the coloring and your logo, everything like that. So we make sure that you don't get lost in this ocean of content.
True. So I think AI became popular in the last like 3, 4 years or thereabouts. So what has been your journey with AI? What gap did you see in how businesses were using AI that led you to set up your AI agency?
So I have a company that I started 10 years ago called Delish, which is a gifting company. And like most businesses, we are always racing to stay ahead of competition. And with Google and search engines and SEO and all that you need to do and targeting your audience and being staying ahead of the competitors, you're always there generating content and you're there to communicate effectively. So you say, I'm there. And you spend a lot of money doing that. So, because you have to hire the SEO agency, you have to hire the content creators, you have to hire all those people. And what happened is 2 years ago, when ChatGPT became popular and people started to play with it, I was one of those people just to have fun and see what it's all about. And I realized the amount of work that can be delegated effectively. And by effectively, I mean knowing your brand. So my business, I started 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you still had to do the work. I come from a generation where we didn't have internet initially. So you had to go to the library and research. You went to university, you did your MBA, you did all that stuff in order to get the results that you wanted, in order to build the business that you wanted, or to work in a corporation, what have you. So I bring that to the table, like many in my generation and my friends, that we started the Blue Apples agency, the AI agency. It's because we have that human side, and using it in on our own businesses, we found how to use it in a way that you still maintain your uniqueness while you are still setting ahead of the game. And our creativity is enhanced because we're merging the two worlds of human and AI. So that's essentially how I've been using it for my own business, and how and why BlueApples.ai started.
Most times I look at the current generation and how easy everything is. And I realized, you remember back in the day when you needed anything, you had to look for a library that had a book on that topic, and then you flip through the entire thing to look for that thing, and it's and it's not too far away, and
It's
it's
not
just
too far
surprising.
away, but because of where we are in the world and the growth that's been so exponential, it feels like it was so far away because
Yeah,
we're so far from that world that it makes it easier and our attention span goes down because now everything is so quick. Before we had to go to Google to research, and then maybe you had to go to the 10th page of Google to get exactly what you want. Now you sit in front of ChatGPT and you say, tell me what's the best restaurant in Milan, and it will give you this list of restaurants without you having to do any effort, and it will tell you why. So it's almost it's spoiling us in a way.
yes.
It might be taking away the intrigue and the excitement of discovery, which that already started with previous like Google and other platforms. But I think what we have to do as human beings is remember that there is a way to use this tool that is going to benefit us rather than letting the tool take over and guide how we should be as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as CEOs, as managers, whatever you are using it for. And so I think these are the things to pay attention to.
I think one thing I noticed too about the attention spans is even music. The songs are even shorter these days. I noticed that when I was working out. Yes. So you talked about brand identity and uniqueness for each brand earlier. And some brands, some people, some companies might just decide, okay, I'm creating content. I just have to bring out a lot of content and that will work for me. So, how important is this brand identity, this uniqueness in the entire scheme of things?
I think it's one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, because you have to understand when you're starting a brand, a company, or you are already one. So look at Coca Cola, for example, or look at Apple. They have strong, identifiable brands that we automatically connect with on an emotional level. And that's what we need right now because the antithesis of AI is human connection. And human connection involves emotions and layers of emotions. And that comes from storytelling. And brands that are successful today are effectively telling their stories, whether that's the story of the founder and why they started the business, the story of a new product launch, the story of why you're promoting something, and so on and so forth. So it comes down to how you're going to connect with your target audience. And remember, in order to be unique, you need to know why you are starting this uh, line of energy drinks. There's hundreds of them out there, hundreds of brands, hundreds of energy drinks that they all have their little secret recipes. But why am I going to buy yours over the competitors? And in order for you to be able to effectively communicate that, you have to know your reason for starting this. And that reason can be I was an athlete. I realized as I got older, I was losing energy. I didn't have the same kind of momentum to do the work that I wanted to do, to exercise the way I wanted to do. And so I decided that, I experimented with this energy recipe that my grandmother used to use back in the days, and I found how effective, and so on and so forth. So you tell that story. And then me, as a woman who is in a certain stage of her life, will say, wow, I like that story. I resonate with it. So I'm going to go and I'm going to buy it. It's natural. It's good. Yes, so is the competitors. But I resonate with this because they effectively communicated their story. They effectively communicated their identity. And so that identity emotionally resonated with me. And so you have to do the work. So when clients come to us and they say, I want you to do a marketing campaign for us, Okay, we'll do the marketing campaign and we're going to use AI and we're going to teach you how to use AI. But before, let's sit down and go back to the traditional pillars and understand your story. Understand why you want to do this marketing campaign. Why is it that who is it that you want to target? How do we want to target them? So you answer these questions and uh, there you produce the material that then will hopefully resonate with the target audience and sell your products without really pushing the sales side, right? It's very easy for me to say, you know what, come buy from me, get I'll give you 20% off. Okay, thanks, I'll do it. I might do it once, I might do it twice, but I might not be a loyal customer.
Mm. Yeah, and I think that thing you say about being able to connect on an emotional level with the customer is really important because there was a point where I realized that for a lot of brands I buy from, once I buy and I'm happy with the interaction I had with that brand, I continue buying even though I see other options that might be maybe cheaper or closer to me or more convenient. I don't know. Maybe that's how we're wired. I just keep going on and on and on. Yes, so
Yes.
that happens a lot. It's a lot. So for businesses, you mentioned going back to the basics, the basic pillars of marketing before implementing AI in the business. So now for the businesses who just jump into using AI for their content and marketing and co, what mistakes do you see them make that makes this not effective?
Perhaps the biggest mistake is the fallacy that AI is going to facilitate your business in a way that it's easy. And it can, but remember, for a champion to be a champion, they do a lot of training behind the scenes. And so that is the work that most businesses today forget about. And they think, oh, AI is here and it's going to save me and I'm going to be so much ahead of my competitors. And initially it might feel that way because you sit down and you say, give me 5 blog posts about X, Y, and Z. And the AI will generate it. Most people don't even read through it. They don't realize the SEO side of it. They don't realize the pain points of the customer or the ideal client that they have to address. So they'll generate it, they'll copy and paste and put it on their platform and say, I did the work. Look how fast I am. A week has gone by today and I've done this and this and this, and all thanks to the AI platforms that I'm utilizing. Time will go by and rapidly. So in a couple of months, you'll look back and you'll say, you know what? Why am I not getting the results I thought I would get? And it's because you are just a drop in this ocean and you're lost in it. And so you've become generic. You've become like every other person that's sitting down saying the same prompt over and over again and getting the results which they're not even paying attention to. You have to remember AI is something quite new in the way that we're using it, of course. And the way we're using it is so, it's this vast field, imagine a desert, whatever you want to imagine, where everything is the same. And it's up to you as the creator. And that's where the human side comes and creativity comes. It's up to you to sit there and say, this is how I want to create my piece of land. This is how I want it to be. And in order to do that, I need to know what the building tools are. How is it that I want to build? So you need this architecture of it, a plan, a step by step instruction in order for you to not be just a drop in that ocean where no one is going to recognize you eventually. Initially, that's the fallacy that you are ahead of the game. But then you look back and you say, oh my God, where am I? I'm just another one of these many different businesses that are using the same kind of prompts without any kind of research or knowledge and generating the same kind of results that my competitors are.
So now, for business owners who don't want to be caught in this trap of being another drop in the ocean of content and all that, I know you mentioned earlier about going back to the basic pillars of marketing. So how can business owners do this and find their unique brand voice, like you said, before ever using AI, so that their content sounds like them?
They have to ask their questions. So older businesses where there was no AI should have already done the work. So, wherever you are locally, if you look at the businesses that are successful, the companies that are successful, you'll see that they have a unique identity. And that unique identity comes either from the founder or from research. Wherever it comes from, it's unique to them. And that's what helps them stand out. That can be font, that can be logo, that can be the story, the copy, their tone of voice, their style of writing. And that is how the research has been done. So the questions have been asked by an agency or by a business coach or who have you. And in order to extract that uniqueness, that unique part of your brand. And once you know that, it becomes very easy because then you can say, listen, give me a blog and ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whichever one will give you the blog. But then you say, you know what? That's not how my tone is. I want you to use a elegant tone. I want you to use bold words. I want you to use adjectives that resonate with an audience that likes luxury. And so you use this, you play with it until you get exactly what it is that you want, not the other way around. Because that platform, that LLM is there to generate, and that's it. And if we don't guide it, it will become like this self driving car that has the potential to crash into a tree because we're not there monitoring it.
So now I think what you're saying in essence is that rather than just say giving it prompts like generate a blog post or generate a post for me, we should have a more detailed prompt after our research that tells the LLM exactly what to do.
Exactly. So think like a recipe. When you want to make a chocolate souffle, there's an exact precision to everything that you have to add in and the way you have to prepare it and cook it in order for you to get the perfect souffle. And it's the same kind of thing. It's called prompt engineering for a reason. And that's because, like an engineer, you have to have all the details and use the correct words that will work best for you. I was just speaking with someone for a project that we're doing, and they're doing the image side of it. And there's a step by step process just to get the right prompt in order to generate the image that they want for the brand. And so you see that the work isn't, let me sit down and say, oh, write me a blog, make it interesting, answer these questions, use this kind of tone, do this, do that, and then it's going to generate it. That's very easy. It will absolutely do the work. You will do it, but it will not be your unique brand. And what will happen is not today, not tomorrow, but in 2 months' time, in 3 months' time, you are completely lost and you are so far behind the businesses that have chosen to do the preliminary work, which that is, let me understand my brand first, then I will tell the you chat how to write for me, how to generate content, how to give me ideas, because I know exactly who I am. And that's how it has to work. So I have the exact recipe of the chocolate souffle. I've had the experience making it before. I'm going to do it again and I'm going to make the best chocolate souffle you've had.
Hmm. So I think I'm having a fixed process, like you said, a recipe for doing this all the time. So can you give us an example of, let's say you pick a brand and they have their unique brand voice, of how this process goes so that people can visualize?
So the process begins with a series of questions that we ask in order to have the founder, the CEO, the marketing manager go deep and understand uh, what their brand is all about. What's their vision? What's their mission? What's their uh, values? All of that has to come out. And where do those values, missions, visions come from? Once you have that, who is the person that you're targeting? The person, these are the demographics, this is the understanding, this is the core pain points that we want to address. Once that's clear, how do we want to do it? What kind of a strategy will work best with them? What kind of a communication will work best with them? What will resonate the most with them? What will connect with them? How are we going to use a story in order to get that audience and have them come and convert? How are we going to sell our energy drink without saying, here's a 20% discount code, buy it, and then not worry about the rest? So it's a process from A to Z, and it never ends, because then after you have the customer, you want to make sure you keep them. So you want to make sure that the story is always being told, and the story is being told in different ways, and it's powerful and it moves them, and so they won't even look at it. So if you think about yourself, when you go to the supermarket and you want to buy laundry detergent, there's a laundry detergent that you will gravitate towards automatically. And if you think about it, it's either because you grew up smelling it as a child, so it's always stayed with you and it's that feeling of nostalgia, or it's the coloring. You love the way the color is, you love the advertisements you've seen around it, you like the smell. So it stimulates all of your senses, and so you're going to buy it. You might look at the price. If it's, I mean, the range of prices can be 50 cents to 75 cents, a dollar maximum. So you're not so price sensitive, and you'll go and get what you want because you want to recreate those feelings in your home. And so this is how we want to connect with the audience. And you do it continuously. And you have to do it through a way that once you understand it, AI will do the work for you with you guiding it. So it's always this car that you're sitting behind and you're driving it. Even if it's driving itself like a Tesla, you're still aware of every direction that it's taking.
Okay. So now, the process you've described, every day we have new AI models, we have new AI chatbots, we have so many options available and still coming out every day. So do you have any preferred LLM to work with for chat for content?
You know that, yes, and that's exactly what you're right, Peter, is that every day on Instagram, on social media, on wherever you look at it, top 10 AI platforms for doing this, and this. And there are many out there, but I still stay true. And in our agency, we work with ChatGPT for content, for ideation, for strategy. For a lot of the work that we do, we use ChatGPT. We use Midjourney for generating images, and we use Runway for generating videos. And there are other ones that we will help companies if they want to implement into their systems and workflows, but that's specific to them. So the three basic ones are right there. And if you want to play around a little bit with Claude or with Gemini, you can. But at the end, once you have your identity down, those are the best platforms.
Amazing. So now you mentioned Midjourney, and for a lot of business owners, they have difficulties getting good images out of Midjourney and Co. So do you have any special tips or anything to get good results with those image generation chatbots?
It's I totally agree with you, and you're absolutely right that it's very difficult to get really nice images. But again, it goes back to, so in our team, There's a person that is very a graphic designer, an artist with a graphic designing background. So it's very easy for them to know exactly what they're looking for. So whether it's lighting, whether it's the kind of camera lens, so they input all of this, and again, it goes back to the prompt, the engineering, the that is so important in order for you to know exactly what you want. So if a brand uses black and white and they use a very aesthetic, romantic aesthetic around their identity and their visuals, that the person who's in charge of that knows exactly how to prompt it, and they go back and forth, and then we still use Photoshop. So it's a combination, because it's still not a perfect, just like ChatGPT is not perfect. So we still have copywriters that goes and tweaks it and plays with it so that you still maintain your unique tone. And the same applies to images. Some work still needs to be done, and we combine Midjourney with Photoshop and a human being. So there's always still to this day, and I don't know if it's going to be in the near future or when it's going to be. AI is just a tool, and that tool needs a human element that has the knowledge and the expertise in order to create exactly what we want it to create. It's made life much easier, but it's still not autonomous.
Yeah, and I think that agrees with the viewpoints I have on this too, because I've watched the AI models get more intelligent, more capable. But at the end of the day, one thing I've noticed is that they always need human supervision, because sometimes even with the more intelligent models, they might be opinionated. You might have a way in your mind you want to go, and they are going this other way. And if you let them just do what they want to do, you might end up at a destination you didn't plan to be at here. So I think that's one thing I've noticed.
Exactly. And it is. It's true. It's actually out there like that.
Yeah. So now, for there are some business owners who might be listening to this, and they're at a point where, like you mentioned, they've become a drop in the ocean. They've used a lot of AI over the last maybe 1 or 2 years, created a lot of content, blog posts, social media posts, and all that, and diluted their brand in the process. So, what's your advice for these business owners for to get back on track and use AI correctly to fix the problem they've created?
I think the first thing they need to do is stop, step back, review their brand book, review themselves, review the company, review their what they're all about. Go back to their core mission, go back to their core values, because that's where we get lost. We're so eager to win the race, and we forget that there's never an end to this race, and it's not even a race. It's about you and bringing something to the table where someone eventually will say, I like that. And so I think it's time. That's the first thing I would say to do. The second thing is talk to experts. So one of the things that we do at Blue Apples is right away we say, you know what? Let us teach you how to use AI correctly, how to use it so that you stay ahead of this game. And the way you do that, we have workshops, we have 1 day, half a day, 2 days, whatever your company needs. We come in and we walk you through it, and we stay with you so that you know and you implement AI in a way that works best for you. The third thing I would say to do is review. So if you're still using AI after all, I mean, you're using it and you're working with it, review it. Sit down as a human and go through it and say, does this resonate with me? Or is it using the vocabulary that I don't like? That what I like to call LLM vocabulary, which were with words like thrilled, spark, elevate, enhance. And these are words that as writers we all used to use before, but today, because we hear them so much, to me they've become words that I shy away from. I say absolutely not. I want nothing to do with them in my brand. And for me personally, for my uh, Delish, the other my company, I know I love writing. I write a lot, and so I know what I'm looking for. So I know exactly the words to use. I'm fortunate in that way. But other companies that are not, and they like to delegate this stuff, delegate it. Make sure that you have a copywriter. Make sure that if you don't have one, you hire one, someone that will read through it and say, listen, based on your brand, this doesn't work. So the first sentence in itself, like think of yourself when you receive an email and it says, I am thrilled to announce, and you're like, oh, I know that you use ChatGPT. I mean, look through your LinkedIn and you see all of these posts with the caption, I'm thrilled to announce that I have joined. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. I mean, thrilled. I don't, I remember the first time I asked ChatGPT to give me a caption for as a matter of fact, for LinkedIn. And it said, I'm thrilled to announce the launch of, and I said, when in my life have I ever used thrilled? And now ChatGPT has a memory. So I say, don't ever use that word thrilled with me. Put it in your memory. And so you start to, now this is where I talk about, you program, you give it the ingredients that is perfect for your chocolate souffle. So I say, do not ever use the word thrilled when it comes to me, my brands, anything that has to do when we are talking.
Okay, so I think that's a summary. Stop and go back to the drawing board. Stop doing what you were doing and go back to the drawing board. Talk to experts who know how to use AI, learn from them, engage them, and also review it. Like you mentioned, the AI vocabulary. There are so many of them. There's transform, discover, unleash, all those things. Yeah. So what's an unconventional tip that it's not everywhere that you can share with business owners about using AI for content?
Um, One thing that I would like to share is have fun. So as founders, as managers, as CEOs, as anyone that is doing anything, we tend to get stuck in, and I know from personal experience, you get stuck in this cube where everything becomes, it has to be this way. We have to meet the algorithm. We have to follow the four pillars. We have to do this. We have to meet uh, forecasts. We have to meet sales. We have to do this. I mean, it becomes this heavy weight that we carry. And I carried it for many, many years because I thought this is the way it has to be. I did an MBA. So my MBA said, you have to be this as a manager. You have to be this as a founder. You have to be this as a, and so you get overwhelmed. And especially in today's world where we are constantly being fed information, constantly being sold to, constantly be, all this input is going in. So I said to myself, listen, AI is here. Have fun. You have nothing to lose. So just sit in front of it and have fun with it. And as businesses or as company, anything that we are involved in, we sometimes forget that, and we forget our why we started something. We started it most of the time because we're in love with something, because we want to create. And creating doesn't necessarily mean that you're an artist and you do a painting. Creation can be anything from an accountant who is putting together a spreadsheet. It can be anything from a, an oil company that is going to package their product in a certain way. So it's about how you want to embrace that creativity and how proud you are of it. And so once you learn to have fun with it, you say, you know what, it's not a big deal. You slow down, you remember your why, you don't become just another algorithm, and you're stop racing and competing with some fantasy that you've created. So it's a different way of looking at things. I think it's a shift in perspective where the joy of entertainment can be the guiding light.
Okay. So now for listeners, you mentioned earlier that it's important to learn how these LLMs work, how AI works. So for listeners who want to learn how to better use AI to communicate without losing their brand voice, do you have any resources you can recommend?
Um, yes, I recommend. Well, we have a lot of guides on our platform that we've made available. Some of them are free. Some of them, I mean, a minimal amount you pay that help you get started and help guide you through your journey with LLMs, with prompting, with how to stand out with your brand identity. So, and there are many guides. There's many platforms that are out there that offer this information even for free. So, or for minimal amounts. But the most important thing is for you yourself to sit down and do the research. And you can do the research on any platform and have an understanding so you know what you're looking for so that you're not, because there's something called overconsumption of information, and sometimes we can get overwhelmed with that and say, oh, this says that, or this says that, or that says that. Stick to one thing. And that's why we say only three platforms that I said to you. Yes, if you start to go between Gemini and Claude and ChatGPT, you're going to get lost because they're going to say some different things. They're going to say this, and you're going to, oh, no, I'm overwhelmed. So it becomes again that paradox of choice where which one do I go with? What do I choose? Stick to one, master your brand identity, work with it, get it down, generate what you need to generate, and just be.
Okay, so for listeners who have enjoyed this episode, who have learned one or two things from this episode, at least some tools that you mentioned that they can use from generating text, videos, images, and co. And maybe they want to continue this conversation, they want to connect with you, they want to learn more from you, or maybe they want to work with Blue Apples. What's the best way they can reach you?
You can come and schedule a free consultation, a discovery call on our website at BlueApples.ai and get to know us and see how, if and how we can help you with AI.
All right, so you go on BlueApples.ai, schedule a call. The website will be in the show notes and at the bottom of the screen once this goes live. So thank you so much, Mona, for coming on this
Th-
morning on Tech Your Business.
Thank you very much, Peter, for having me. I enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you so much. And for the listeners, I hope you learned one or two things. I'm sure if you re-listen to it, you're going to learn more because we talked about a lot in the last few minutes. So thank you for listening. And till next week when we're back with a brand new episode, don't forget to keep taking your business. Bye for now.